It's a hot day, I'm sweating already. It is a hot episode of Gadget Nation in store for you as well. We're here, Samira by Asia Terrace here at Central Park. I cannot wait to get started because in my bag is all the goodies I have to show you. Let's start.
Tim Pool's gain to fame was when he decided to turn himself from an amateur skateboarder into a journalist by covering the Occupy Wall Street protests in the United States in September last year. Moved by the objective of the movement, Pool became one of the world's first live-stream journalists. Gadget Nation recently had the opportunity to catch up with Pool at the Sheffield Documentary Film Festival in the UK.
You know, I just had a cell phone and it was easier to broadcast to the internet than to just record HD video because I would then have to find a way to upload that footage. So if I just use, Ustream, it would be right on the internet for everybody to see it. And it's actually quite simple. So I just plug my phone into an external battery, and then there's many different kinds of streaming platforms that you can use. I just happen to use Ustream, downloaded it, and then it's really just that simple to download it and then point.
Pool's reporting stream was picked up by international media organizations such as Al Jazeera and Time magazine. In fact, Time even named him as one of their 100 most influential people. And he feels that his style of reporting might just be the future of journalism.
What we're seeing now is the rise of the social media journalists. So people who use these social media platforms to tell a story, and that's pretty much what I do. I use Twitter, Facebook, I use Ustream, and blogging. So all the different social media is what creates the story.
Pool also believes that people would slowly prioritize their news consumption online rather than traditional media like television.
Eventually television will be a thing of the past and we'll consume all of our media through the internet. There's really no need for someone to go through their channels when they can just build up themselves through their credibility. You know, the home of most of my reporting is actually just Twitter. So, you go on my Twitter account and you'll see everything I'm talking about.
Looks like Gadget Nation might just have to move platforms soon. Zan Azli for Gadget Nation in Sheffield, United Kingdom.
Olympus, they continue to just innovate with all of their awesome cameras and products. Been very, very impressed over the past couple of years. And this latest offering, does it continue that trend? Well, I'm just going to take a first look at it. It's a compact, which is also very, very powerful. Little camera I got right here on the table. It's from Olympus. This is the EX31M. Quite impressive. They've packed a lot into this little bad boy. Now you may notice that right there is quite long. Biggest credit has to go 24 times zoom. That is quite impressive. I mean, you're going to be able to get an extremely good zoom with that. I have to say though, it's not only the zoom which is a great thing. It's almost like an SLR, but an incredibly compact body. If you've used a recent Olympus compact camera, you should be able to get straight into this because the interface is very, very similar. For example, focus point is set on the touchscreen itself, which I'm actually a big, big fan of. What else is nifty about the screen? Well, it's nice and bright, as you can see. As I focus it on myself, should be able to see it, depending on how the light conditions are. Another key aspect is I do like the touch interface. It is very smooth, very easy to navigate through, and it's even easy now. For example, if it's on program on the top there, as you can see, you can easily scroll through here and change the settings as you like. It's a welcome addition, makes it pretty easy to navigate your way through. In case you're wondering, you'll be able to take about, give or take, 400 shots once the battery is fully charged up on this as well. Saying that, shot to shot, 1.8 seconds, 1.8 sorry, could be a little bit better. because of the light conditions are really bad. It could go up to 3.2, so a little bit sluggish in that aspect. As for the body, well, it's pretty much like a camera with a pretty big zoom lens there, but this bit here, quite chunky, able to grip onto the camera quite well, nicely grooved, as you can see right there. Makes it quite nice. So what else is nifty about this? Well, I have to say the pictures are pretty nifty. There's no manual control. However, different settings can be done just flicking your way through the menu. HDR, something a little bit fun. Panorama as well. And they all work pretty well in my honest opinion. Now, another key thing, which is, well, not say key, but quite a fun thing, is when you're shooting one of the 1080p videos, you can still capture 16 megapixel picture. So obviously it's working overtime to do that, but it does its job commendably. Now, obviously, saying that, you can probably guess that this is a 16 megapixel sensor as well, and it does work pretty well in tandem with this lens 24 zoom. Now, I haven't really had a chance to test it out, so I'm not entirely sure how great it is. It's just first look, obviously, but just a quick play around with it revealed that it is pretty good, although obviously to focus on something so far away and keep it steady is also an achievement in itself, it has to be said. But overall, very good effort. Overall, I've just played around with it very briefly. It seems pretty good. Macro shots, very effective, has to be said, with this lens that we have right here. Obviously, being an Olympus, they got all sorts of fun filters, which certainly add character to a picture and almost eliminate the need for Photoshop if you're just a casual user. It's got an inbuilt flash. Ah, there we go, nice. I do enjoy having that, it has to be said. Battery life is pretty decent, and it's a good compact camera. Obviously, there are cameras which have a similar zoom ability, but not as many which are as small and compact as what Olympus have done here. It's very cool, very nifty. If you're a casual camera user, this could very well be perfect for you.
Richard Lai and Gadget's Senior Associate Editor, also the Editor-in-Chief for Engadget Chinese, was in town recently to pay us a visit. Along with him is the new Asus PadFone, one of the latest innovation from Asus.
So what I have here is the Asus PadFone, and it's a truly unique device here because what happens is, so not only do you have a phone, but you also have a tablet which you can put, where you can put the phone inside just like this. And then what happens is within about a second, you still get the same system on the tablet. So everything is still powered from the phone. All the data is still in there, so if you want to watch the same videos, it's still in there. You don't have to copy it to a different device. And also you're only using the same data plan. So it's very convenient. And also the tablet itself not only has a large screen, so it's a 10.1-inch screen, but it also has a very large battery pack. So while you're using the tablet, you're also charging up the phone at the same time. So that's very practical. And of course, if you're using the tablet, as you normally do, but if you get an incoming call and you don't want to take the phone out, you can just use this Bluetooth stylus headset. So you can use this not only as a pen, but you can also make phone calls and just go like this. It looks a bit silly, but it's just like holding a normal phone. And a lot of people I told them about this, they don't believe me that this is actually a Bluetooth headset, but it's real. So And if you want to, you can also buy a keyboard. So it's a bit like the Transformer Prime over here. It also comes with a keyboard, but with a different style. So you have the phone, you have the tablet, and you have the netbook. 3 form factors in one. And the price is quite competitive as well. So as a concept, I really like this device. Computex recently, we saw Asus also demoing a prototype that lets you put the PadFone into a desktop monitor. So that also gives you an even bigger screen. And I'm hoping Asus would sort of improve on that idea, letting you use the phone be literally your center of your personal life. And the only question left is whether Android is powerful enough to cover all your bases of your daily life. Right now, I think Android still isn't quite there yet in terms of productivity, but in terms of consuming content, especially multimedia, I think Android is a very good choice right now. And what Asus has to do is just improve on that and add some more value to in terms of entertainment features.
Many moons ago, I reviewed a certain product from Asus, the ePad Transformer, and I said I absolutely loved it, and it's probably my favorite tablet. And if you were to search through our archives, you would also notice me saying, look out for the successor to it, because it should be even better. And you know what? I really hope you listen to me, because what we have right here is that successor. This is the Asus ePad Transformer Prime. Yep, just like Optimus. In fact, there was a whole lawsuit about that, but let's not get into details. This is an outstanding device. There are many things to like about it and very few things to dislike about it. Let's find out exactly why. This is an absolutely outstanding device, and in fact, when you open it up and you look at it just like that, like such, it does pretty much resemble a MacBook Air, let's be honest. In fact, I showed it to my girlfriend. She said, why did you buy a MacBook Air? It's not. It is a tablet with a keyboard docked attached, and it's not just something for show and tell. This actually does serve a very crucial detail to the entire tablet experience from Asus. Now I'm just going to disconnect this here so I can show you some stuff. There's a simple latch right there. You just flick it to detach it from the actual keyboard itself. Now this is a tablet. It's a 10.1 inch. Now in fact it is actually slightly thinner than the last one and about 100 grams lighter than the previous one. So they've obviously made vast improvements in that aspect. It also should be noted, obviously because the original one was also lighter than the iPad 2, this is obviously lighter than the new iPad. And in fact, it is slightly slimmer as well. So it's very select and very nice to hold. Easily can be held in one hand. When you look at it, it's obviously going to be compared to the iPad and also the Galaxy Tab as well, 10.1 that is. Now, as for the whole user experience, it is running on Ice Cream Sandwich, so you know it's entirely up to date. Slight gripe about that would be a lack of apps which actually utilize, you know, Ice Cream Sandwich, but I guess I'll all be fixed in the future. All comes down to the fragmentation of Android tablets. That's the key issue for me. Apart from that though, it is outstanding. Now, one of the key factors when I said before was to hold out for this was simply, it's got quad core. It's got Tegra 3 quad core. That is an incredibly powerful processor. In fact, it even has a 5th core that runs on a much lower level so you can conserve battery that way. In terms of speed and responsiveness, I'm not sure if you can see it in the sun, but it is very fluid and there's absolutely no lag when you're doing stuff, and it will play or your really high-end graphic games that are optimized for quad-core gaming. topic about Android 4.0 because that's a completely different ballgame, sorry. I'm going to talk more about this. Now, in terms of connectivity, this is absolutely unparalleled. Now, this has got 32 GB of internal memory. That's great. That should do for most people. But no, apparently it's not quite enough. For one, what you can see right there, micro HDMI output. Right there is a micro SD card slot. Yeah, that's pretty much standard for most Android devices, apart from HTC and their One X for some reason, but never mind that. You think that's enough? It's not quite enough, because this keyboard dock right here, what you can do is, right there is a USB port. Yeah, and it's not over just yet. Believe it or not, there's also a normal SD card slot right there. You just click it and it'll pop out. It's astounding. Every piece of technology you will want to connect to this can be done. I mean, you can attach a mouse to this, you can attach a hard drive to it, anything you want, transfer files in and off the device. In fact, I experimented with some very high-res videos, MKV specifically. I had absolutely no problem playing it off my hard disk. It wasn't even internal storage, off something else, and of course being quad-core, it's easily able to handle that. It's brilliant. Now, as for this device, one gripe I have about the Transformer Prime would be to charge the tablet itself, you have to connect it to this. So there is a slot right there, you just plug in the charger and it's done. There's no way of connecting a charger to the tablet device itself to charge, so I'm not a big fan of that, to be honest. In terms of the keyboard though, as you can see, it's pretty nice, the whole chiclet key here, and it types pretty well. Not as great as a laptop at the end of the day, or netbook as it should be compared to, but it'll definitely get the job done, and Asus have tricked it out with some of their own little buttons and hotkeys on the device. But when you combine it together, it's easy for work and it's great to just take out. What about other aspects I haven't talked about? Well, the speakers, it's just one speaker, but it pretty much does the job. Plug in your headphones and you're definitely good to go for everyday use. The camera, 1.2 megapixel on the front, nothing great. Then again, I never use the camera on the front, but the one on the back, which is flash equipped, 8 megapixels, can shoot in 1080 HD. Most can only do 720p, so that's definitely a huge plus point, so the quality really shows in that aspect. For the screen itself, it's very responsive thanks to its incredibly powerful processor. And I mean, it's clear, it's bright enough, you can watch whatever you want to do and do your work, etc. It's pretty nifty like that. Another key aspect which I haven't mentioned is how the keyboard adds to the battery life. Now, if I was to run the tablet, they say you can get about 12 hours, but obviously it depends on what you're doing with it and the screen brightness, etc. So anywhere, let's say from 8 to 12 hours. Now, if you attach the keyboard to it, you extend it by a further, give or take 5 to 6 hours. So potentially, on low settings, you could get 18 hours with the tablet and the keyboard all plugged in. And another nifty thing about this is it won't just be running on a separate power source here. It will actually charge the tablet as it's plugged in and drain its own battery. So you can detach it and play around with the tablet itself because it'll even charge by the keyboard. Very, very nifty. Another gripe which I have to mention is it's only Wi-Fi. There's no 3G, no mobile broadband option, so you're stuck with whatever services you have around you. A couple of things are holding it back from true greatness, but for me this is the best Android tablet. It's powerful, connectivity is brilliant, multi-purpose. It is an awesome, awesome device. All the other Android developers should really pick up their game because this is setting the benchmark for me. If only it was in 3G. Because of that, I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. A true competitor for the iPad. Let's face it, certain games out there just, well, simply have to be played on a PC, not a console. And to be honest, sometimes if you're going to go buy a ready-made gaming PC, it can be incredibly expensive. One option, of course, is to build it yourself, which could suit your needs and also possibly be also a cheaper option. That's exactly what Avery did in this week's Gamer Station, and he's got some tips just for you.
Hello, Avery Score here, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Gamer Station, where we're entering the immersive world of Terra. Now, Terra is a massively multiplayer online RPG unlike any other, for one very simple reason: mouse look is enabled by default. So the combat is very much action-oriented, and it's a lot more fun to play than, say, your World of Warcrafts, where you're just entering a bunch of commands, you're waiting for them to execute. It's kind of clickety-clank, clickety-clank. Here, I'm really engaged in the combat, and I feel like my actions in circle strafing around an enemy and my skill level with the mouse and keyboard has a direct effect on how I'm able to dispatch with hordes of foes or with BAMs, or big-ass monsters, as they're called in the game. So this is a lot more engaging and a lot more fun, and right off the bat, this very small gameplay nuance makes Terra unique in the genre and just much more of a joy to play in terms of the gameplay. That very much is addictive from the get-go, from the time you pick up the keyboard and mouse or the controller, because indeed Terra can be played quite well with a PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360 style controller. With a keyboard and mouse, you're going to have a much more kind of like gamey, console-y feel as well, because you're going to want to map your primary actions, which are displayed on this action bar, to specific keys on the keyboard in order to have those handy. And you feel much more indeed like you're playing an action-oriented RPG or even a beat-em-up at times, depending on the class that you pick. Speaking of classes and races, you're going to get your typical elves and humans here, but you're also going to get Castanics, which are kind of these diabolic creatures, which are quite cool. And a number of other races, such as the Elohim, yeah. It's kind of an inventive world in general. I don't know how much you're going to care about the backstory that Terra has, because if you're like me in this particular game, you're going to be a cutscene skipper, you're going to be someone who probably doesn't read all of the quest text. Why? Because the story in Terra is really not that interesting. You probably won't pay attention to it, especially on the newbie island where you start the game. It's just absolutely, hey, go talk to this person about this quest, and this person is like 5 feet away, and you're like, really? You couldn't have just done that yourself? And you're sent on this kind of ridiculous mission. After that, you'll rejoin the main continent, where all of the races, allied races of Terra, are allying their strength against some evil force that's amassing on the continent across. It doesn't really matter. The story is not the reason you play this game. You play this game for the great gameplay and for the great combat, and also the beautiful presentation. If you pick a character that you're inclined to like, you're not going to be disappointed. The environments are also really varied. They look really good, high poly, very rich textures, and overall just a really artful presentation. It's a look that's similar to World of Warcraft, but it's actually more successful in a lot of ways, and the differences between the cities are striking. So you really feel a huge amount of variety in the kind of environments that you're going to explore. So this is a game that's visually breathtaking, and it's just a lot of fun to play. So you can almost forgive the fact that the story is just totally crap and you don't care about it at all. What is unforgivable, however, is you'll see this like epic cutscene, whatever, really well done, and obviously a lot of money and a lot of talent went into it. And then right after, you'll be sent on a quest like, you know, follow this unicorn who's walking at, 2 kilometers per hour. Okay, it really takes the wind out of your sails, and it just shows a complete lack of creativity in the quest design. Very surprising, considering the wealth of creativity and talent that has obviously gone into the combat system, that's obviously gone into the artistic direction and overall presentation of the game. Another huge problem with this game is that it has not officially launched in Southeast Asia. There are no Southeast Asian servers. Indeed, the only Asian servers at all are in Korea, and Southeast Asian IPs are blocked from them. Basically, they don't want us to play this game, but we can. We can play this game on the European servers. I'm playing on a French server right now, and everyone has been very nice to me, probably because my character looks like this. But it's still a joy to play. You're not going to experience a great ping unless you're going to do some IP tunneling or something like that, and then, of course, you'd have a direct route. With the routing tables being what they are for, Unifier StreamX, you're probably going to experience quite a lot of latency. But if you're willing to suffer through the latency and play around with the channels that you're on and the servers that you're on in order to get an ideal experience, you will be richly rewarded if you like action-oriented MMORPGs, because there's really a lot to like in this game. So, in brief, if you're willing to deal with lag, if you're willing to deal with a crap story, and if you're willing to not care too much about the cutscenes, there is a core experience in Terra that is unique and that should not be missed by fans of the genre. I'm having a great time. I'm at level 15 right now, and you know, if all continues to go well, I'll check in with you guys again to tell you how this game's going around level 30 or so. Sound good? Let me get back in.
Sadly, that's all the time we have this week, but don't forget, you can always find us on Facebook and on Twitter. Either look for Gadget Nation, GN Gadget, or maybe even me, Adam Carruthers. In my bag, I got all my toys. Time for me to head out of here. Bye-bye.